Today we will be talking about aortic stenosis. Aortic stenosis is a condition in which there is a progressive narrowing of the aortic valve. It is also called left ventricular outflow obstruction. The number one cause of aortic stenosis in infants is congenital bicuspid aortic valve or unicuspid aortic valve, and it is believed that this defect is due to mutation in Notch1 gene. Here you can see in normal individuals there are three cusps for the aortic valve, which means the normal aortic valve is tricuspid valve. But due to the defect in Notch1 gene, there is a congenital fusion of the two cusps of aortic valve, and this can lead to aortic stenosis. Other cause can be due to rheumatic heart disease. Rheumatic heart disease causes endocarditis and damages the aortic valve and leads to commissural fusion of the cusps of the aortic valve. And this presentation is usually seen in children. Then the other cause can be degenerative calcific stenosis, which is usually seen in patients above 65 years. Then radiation also can cause the aortic stenosis by directly damaging the aortic valve. Damaged aortic valve means inflammation, then calcification, then stenosis. Talking about the gender preference of the aortic stenosis, it is more commonly seen in men. Here you can see it is 2 to 4 times more in men than women. Then now we will be talking about the clinical features. Clinical features can be remembered using a mnemonic called SAT. What is SAT? In SAT, S stands for syncope on exertion. So why do we have syncope on exertion? As the aortic valve is narrowed, there is decreased cardiac output. So the heart cannot pump the adequate blood to the brain, and the patient experiences syncope and angina also. It is due to the compensatory left ventricular hypertrophy. The heart requires more oxygen, and patient may experience left ventricular hypertrophy. And dyspnea also can be seen because there is an increased pressure in the left ventricular, and it can be transmitted back to the left atria, then into the pulmonary circulation, causing dyspnea. On examination, we can see a slow rising pulse. This is usually called as pulsus paras et tardus. Pulsus paras means slow rising pulse, and tardus means decreased amplitude. We can also see carotid thrill in this patient, usually after the systole, and it should be differentiated by dancing carotid, which is usually seen in aortic regurgitation. Then the apical impulse can be heard on the 5th and 6th intercostal space. So we call it double apical impulse. Then the nature of the apex beat is heaving. We can also see S4 in this patient due to the stiffened ventricle due to compensatory hypertrophy of the left ventricle. Then talking about the S2 nature of the aortic stenosis, we can see three type of S2 in this patient. The patient may have narrow split S2, single S2, or reverse split S2. So let me show you what is like the single S2 and everything means. In normal S2 first of all has two components, aortic and pulmonic valve, closure of the aortic and pulmonic valve. In normal individuals, the aortic valve usually closes a bit earlier than the pulmonic valve, and there is a delay in 30 milliseconds. This is called physiological splitting. But in case of aortic stenosis, as the valve is narrowed, this S2, due to the valve is narrowed, the left ventricular takes more time to push the blood out. So aortic valve closes a little bit later. So this is called narrow splitting S2. And if the disease progresses, it can also close with the pulmonic valve same time as the pulmonic valve. So we call it single S2. and when the disease progresses further, the pulmonic valve closes in normal time, but the aortic valve takes much more time than that. And for this we call reverse splitting, or we will call it as paradoxical splitting. Then talking about the murmurs of the aortic valve, we have crescendo decrescendo murmur. It is also called ejection systolic murmur, and you should not confuse this with the murmur of the mitral regurgitation. In mitral regurgitation, we also have a systolic murmur, but it is a pansystolic murmur. So, what is the difference between pansystolic and ejection systolic murmur? Let this be S1 and S2 and S1. So, in case of aortic stenosis, we have increasing intensity then decreasing, but for mitral stenosis, the intensity of the murmur remains the same. That is the only difference between the murmur of the aortic stenosis and the mitral regurgitation. We can only distinguish it by intensities. In aortic stenosis, there is an increased intensity then decrease, but in case of mitral regurgitation, there is a same intensity over the systole. Then you may be wondering why the murmur starts as soon as S1. Normal individual, there is an ejection click after S1. So, due to increased pressure in the left ventricular, the ejection click is accompanied by S1. So, the aortic valve opens before than the normal individuals. Then for workup, we can use ECG. On ECG, we can find left ventricular hypertrophy, in which we can find a narrow QRS complex. Other diagnosis can be used by X-ray, in which we can see cardiothoracic ratio is increased. Here you can see due to the compensatory hypertrophy of the left ventricle. On some X-rays, we can also see calcific aortic valve. Other investigation is echocardiography. Echocardiography is the gold standard for any valvular lesions, and for pulmonic and aortic valve, we prefer to use transthoracic echo. But for mitral and tricuspid aortic valve, we prefer to use transesophageal echo. And due to the from the finding of echocardiography, we can differentiate the aortic stenosis into three types: mild, moderate, and severe. If the orifice of the aortic valve is between 1.5 and 2 cm, we called it mild. Then, if it is 1 and 1.5 cm square, it is called moderate. And if it is less than 1 cm square, we can say it is severe form of aortic stenosis. In severe form of aortic stenosis, the transvalvular pressure gradient will be more than 40 mm of mercury, which means the pressure difference between the left ventricle and the aorta is more than 40 mm of mercury. Then in severe form, there can also be ejection velocity can be 4 times the normal. In normal individuals, ejection velocity is 1 meter per second, but due to the stenosis, the ejection velocity become 4 times 4 meter per second. Then talking about the other tests like dobutamine and treadmill test, is absolutely contraindicated in severe form of aortic stenosis because it can precipitate syncope, and we don't want to happen that in our patient. So you may be wondering why I put heart failure here. Due to the progressive narrowing, and the heart compensates, but over the time the heart fails and causes heart failure, and this is number one causes of death in patient with aortic stenosis. So, if in MCQ, if they ask what is the number one cause of the death in aortic stenosis, we can say it's because of the heart failure. Then before we go to the treatment, let me classify the aortic stenosis into 4 stages. It can be called A, B, C and D. Stage A means the patient only have risk factor of developing aortic stenosis, but right now he does not have any lesions, any stenosis or any structural damage to the valve. For example, he has rheumatic heart disease like calcification is going on, but stenosis is not there. Then uh, stage B can be when we say mild moderate, like for example if the valvular orifice is between 2.5 and between 1.5 centimeters square, we called it stage B. Then stage C means severe aortic stenosis without any symptoms, and if the patient start experiencing symptoms, we call it stage D. Then coming to the treatment, we usually treat it with transcatheter aortic valvular replacement. As you can see here, the valve is the original valve is not removed, but we place a new valve over the other. Then usually in children we don't use this TAVR, but we prefer to use balloon valvuloplasty. Why? Because if you replace a valve, it will be metallic, and the patient may need lifelong anticoagulation therapy, and we don't want our like kids to start their anticoagulation from their childhood itself, which can sometimes lead to warfarin toxicity and some complications. So thank you guys. I'll be talking